Alright gang, so today we're going to do a little quick demo on how to set up your Yongnuo 600ex-RT speedlight so that it works with the Yongnuo YN-E3-RT controller. First thing I want you to notice is on the controller and the speedlight, both setups are exactly the same. You have all the same buttons in all the same places, and for the most part they do pretty much the exact same thing. So when you turn them on, first time you turn them on, just go ahead and turn it all the way on, and your controller will come on. It'll say master, ATTL, all. The important thing is you see this little radio icon up in the right hand corner. That is something that people are having difficulty with when they're messaging me going, hey, how do I get this going? Well, if you look right here on the 600ex-RT speedlight, right now we have a battery power indicator right there in that top right corner. So in order to get them to link, the first thing you want to do is you want to press this little button right here on the side with a little lightning bolt Z with arrows on each end, whatever you want to call it. Press that and walk through. You'll notice it goes to ATTL and then it says master and it has the radio up there. So now it's the same as your controller. So if you were using it on camera, you would use it just like your controller to control your other speedlights off camera. But that's not what we're trying to do right now. Notice the light, the LED up there is kind of blue. Well, we want to get that so that it links up and turns green. Press your button again. It changes to slave. Hear the little beep. We've got our radio icon, slave, channel 1, channel 1. Boom, our lights show that it's linked up. Occasionally, when you get in your controller or your speedlight, you're going to see that even if they're on the same channel, even if they're both set up on radio, they're not going to link. One of those reasons that cause that is if they are set up with different IDs. So to check your ID, you're going to press this button right here. If you notice, it says menu 1 up at the top. Press it a second time, it goes to menu 2, menu 3, then you have a channel button and you have an ID button. You want to press the ID button and it'll pop up the screen that shows the ID. I have mine all set to zeros. As you see, the IDs are the same. If you change the ID, occasionally they will not link up because they're set so that they can ID with different speedlights in case there are more than one person using the same channel and the same type of speedlight at the same place where you're shooting. So I've got mine all set to 0. For me, that's the easiest way to do it. Hit the back arrow button. It's going to take you back to the main screen. If the IDs are the same and your channels are the same and they're both set to radio frequency and you have your speedlight on slave and you have your controller on master, they should link up automatically. Now if you notice, I'll turn them off and we'll turn them back on. Power's up, it links automatically. Let's say you want to change the grouping of one of your speedlights and you don't want to shoot everything on TTL. So what we're going to do is we'll come over here, we'll press our mode, and that's going to take us to manual mode. It's going to give us ratios. We'll have the opportunity to shoot everything at the same power. We can press the ratio button again. We can get an A to B ratio. Press it one more time. An A to B to C ratio. You can set your speed light. Right here, this button has the little GR above it, and you can change your group. Now it's changed to group B. Now it's changed to group C. And if you notice, when I press this button over here and I change the channel, there's this little lightning bolt out here to the side. That shows which speed light is linked to which group. So right now I just have one speed light on and it's showing it is linked in group A. I'm going to press group again, change it to B, it changes to B over here. Now, if we want to change our power settings, let's go over here and we'll go down to Group B. We're going to change that to 1/64. Okay. Now, we're just going to let that go, and then whenever we're about to take our photo, you press the shutter button on the camera and it sends a signal to the speed light as it's about to take the photo, and it automatically changes it to whatever it is you have it set at. You're not going to see these ratios change until the shutter button is pressed, or you press the test fire button on your controller. Now, let's add another speed light to the group. Alright, so we've added another speed light to our group, and what I want you to notice on this new speed light that we're adding, on its screen, you're going to see it says ETTL, but up here we have this little funky looking symbol, and what that is the optical control, so that it is compatible with like a 580EX or a 568EX speed light, and they can optically control this through the infrared signal. If you look right here, it has SC, and that means it's a slave for Canon. Well, we're going to try to get it set up so it's on the radio signal. So we press it again, and then it goes to ITTL, SN, still has the infrared signal right there. But what the SN means is, if you happen to be shooting a Nikon camera and you want to control these with the Nikon CLS system, this setting right here will allow you to do that. Everybody knows the best shooters use Canon though, so we're going to move on. Now we have it set up in just manual mode. S1 means it is in a optical slave mode, and you can still see it's got the infrared signal right there. So what this does is it allows the speed light to be a slave to another flash going off. When a flash goes off, it will trigger this to be an optical slave, and it will shoot out the power of whatever power you have it set on. You cannot control the power on an optical slave from another speed light. You'll have to make the adjustments on this speed light itself if you use it in that mode. S2 is for when you're using a camera and you're using red eye reduction, or you're using TTL and the camera sends out that infrared or that little pre-flash. What this does is it cancels the pre-flash, and it doesn't fire once that does, but it waits for the real flash to go off. So S2 is also going to be the optical slave, but it cancels the pre-flash. Now we have it back to ETTL. This is where you want it whenever you're going to put it on top of your camera and just use it as a regular speed light on your camera. Now, once again, we have it set up so that it's the same as our controller. You can put it on your camera, use it to control. Press it one more time, we get it slave, radio signal, channel 1, our link turned from blue to green, we're good to go. If you notice over here, we have channel C, and on our controller here it shows that we have another speed light joining the group on channel C. If you look right here, we have channel C set to 1/16th power. We have channel B set to 1/64th power. We've already taken a picture, so to speak, by pressing the test button, and that sent the signal to change the power on this speed light. So now, if we want to take another picture, we'll just take the photo, and there you go. You see it changed to C, 1/16th power, just like we wanted, manual. It's no longer in TTL. And again, it will do that when you take the photo, and it will automatically change prior to firing the flash. Let's say we want to go and do high-speed sync. Well, I've already got high-speed sync set up on here, but I'm going to show you how to change that. You're going to press your menu 1 button till you get to the second menu, and you'll see where it says sync. You'll press this button right here. When there's no icon right here, it's in regular sync mode, which on most cameras is going to max out at about 1/200th of a second. Press the sync button. You get this little icon there. That is for high-speed sync. That means it will allow your camera to take photos up to 1/8,000th of a second shutter speed, and it will also trigger the flashes to go off at that. Press the sync again, and we get the little 3 arrows with one furthest to the right, and that is for rear curtain sync. Rear curtain sync is for when you want the flash to go off at the end of the photo process. If you're using a longer exposure and you want to stop the motion in a photo, rear curtain sync is a great way to do that. You can take a photo, the shutter will be open, and just before the shutter closes, it sends the signal to fire the speed light. Press sync again, we go back to our regular setting. Now, you see we're in manual mode right now. Let's say we want to go to TTL. Press that a few times, and we get back to that original screen that you guys saw. We're on TTL, but right now everything is set to go off exactly the same. So, we want to press the menu button so we can pop up the ratio right here. And then we can do a ratio A to B. So, on the left side, A will be at 2 times the power to 1 power and whatnot. You can change that. You can do whatever you want as far as the power goes. 1 to 8, all the way to 8 to 1. Now, we want to add a third speed light to the group under group C. So now we have A to B ratio, and then we can control our C speed light and have it go off at a different flash exposure value versus the others. And you can see right here we can control up to a 3-stop difference. Personally, I prefer to shoot in manual mode, but there are times when I'm going to use the TTL mode. Typically when I'm doing weddings or events and I don't have time to change the power of the flash real quick so that it gives me proper exposure. That's something to learn a little bit later on. So the next thing we want to do, we've already looked at manual mode. We see we have A, B, and C on there. We can go three different modes in just regular manual. Another mode that we have is multi-mode. And what this is it is a stroboscopic type of lighting. What it will do is allow you to take a picture with a longer exposure, and the flash will go off multiple times, so that if there's someone moving, you can get a freeze action of them in several different positions during the time of the exposure. GR mode. This is my favorite mode to use because it allows me to have some lights set on TTL, and then if I want, I can change some of the lights to manual. So let me take a step back here. So what you'll do is you'll press the GR button right here. It'll highlight group A. You can see where it says A mode right there, and you can change it. You can put it on manual. You can put it on a custom setting. You can put it on TTL. All those different ones right there. And if you are at an event or whatnot and you're shooting and you move to a part of the room where you want a certain light to turn off, you can highlight whichever light it is, and then over here on the left it has on off, and you can turn that one off. Now it only turns off the signal that goes to the speed light. It doesn't actually turn the speed light off. But it's great to use so that you don't wind up with different flashes going off that you don't want to go off, and it allows you to use creative lighting and do some really neat things. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, we're going to turn A back on, but as you see we only have a B and a C right now, so we're going to go down here, we're going to go to B, and B is set on TTL. Let's say we want to change it to manual, so we're going to hit the mode right here underneath, change that to manual. Then we are going to go back, we're going to hit the GR again, and we're going to scroll down here to C, and we're going to leave C on ETTL. And if you notice, it goes all the way to E. So we have A, B, C, D, and E. This allows you to have 5 different groups that you can control every single one of the speed lights at a different power if you want to. You can group several lights into one group. You can put 1 light in group A, 1 light in group B, 6 lights in group C. However you want to do it, you can set it up so that you can have all those lights in the different groups. Again, this is my favorite mode, just because of the creativity and whatnot that it allows. So, let's say you've pressed something on your flash and you don't remember what you pressed and you're not getting them linked up. Again, what you want to do is you want to press this button here and get your flash back to where it has the radio icon, has the same channel as your controller, and it needs to say slave, not master. Once you hit slave, they're on the same channel, they're both on radio, they both have the same ID, they're going to link up. Boom, you're in business. I'll make another video later on that shows a little more in depth on the different functions of the controller and the speed light. But for now, I just wanted to get this out there so you could figure out a way to get into the speed light, figure out a way to get things linked up, and kind of go through the basics of the menu there. Have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Be sure to visit my website, www.tpainphotography.com/Yongnuo products, so you can purchase. I'll also have my new website up very, very soon, www.yongnuousa.net, and you'll be able to purchase there as well. Anyway, have a great day.